Welcome everyone to Sister Wives with Mary Jane K. Today, I'll be giving my commentary on Seeking Sister Wife, Season 5, Episode 13, Seeking Our Forever. The episode opens with the Davis family. Nick and Danielle hang back in the hot tub, and Nick asks Danielle if she is still okay with dating, with Jasmine, with all of it. At first, there's awkward silence, but Nick really wants to be sure that Danielle is truly okay with not only Jasmine spending the night, but now sharing a bed with them. Danielle thinks overall Jasmine fits in well with everyone, and so far it's going well. But Nick points out to Danielle that he thought things were going great, and Danielle up and left without a trace out of the blue. So Nick is really worried about gauging things, and he is worried about getting too excited about this or thinking it's going well because Danielle left, and in his mind, things were going great. So Nick doesn't know how to feel. He wonders if Danielle is being real, and he wonders if Danielle had enough time to really think about this. Danielle says she feels things are going well with Jasmine, and Nick points out she's talking about Jasmine, but this isn't about Jasmine. It's all about Danielle. It's all about herself and where she is with all of this. Nick really wants Danielle to be real with him, and he wants Danielle to have the chance to tell him if she has concerns. He asks Danielle if she could see herself marrying Jasmine one day, and Nick assures her they aren't proposing anytime soon, but he knows Danielle has to consider that she will legally marry, the next sister wife they take on. Danielle says she gets along with Jasmine, but she is still nervous about dating. This whole thing is new for her. Danielle wants to take things slow. She wants to see how things go. Nick knows this type of relationship is difficult, and he feels he has to appreciate the fact that there are going to be challenges, lots of challenges to constantly overcome. But overall, he feels after Danielle learned that she could leave the situation if she ever wanted to leave, she tried leaving, she knows she's capable of it, and she saw she didn't want to be gone. She left and she knew she wanted to come back. She didn't want that. That is something that he considers. That is something Danielle can always consider, that she always has that option. So the thought of Danielle leaving is always in Nick's mind. Danielle feels that it's really challenging to have to be the one to say, the only one to say, hey, I'm not feeling this. This might not be right. She often finds herself compromising when she feels she should be putting her foot down about things. And it's really hard for her to put her foot down to be the only voice of dissent in this situation. Danielle likes Jasmine well enough. She agreed to the sleepover, but she admits there has been jealousy and there has been insecurity. Those ugly things have reared their heads, they've popped up, and she isn't sure how this will be with Jasmine. Nick isn't the only one concerned about Danielle. April is concerned too. April worries about how Danielle will feel about Jasmine. She also worries about how Jasmine is going to feel about all of them. And April wonders if Jasmine will be really comfortable in their family. And she worries Danielle won't communicate if she isn't okay with this, if she isn't truly comfortable with this, that she won't be honest with them about her feelings and use her voice. And she says the worst thing that could possibly happen would be Danielle leaving the family again. So April feels if Danielle left, it would just be devastating. They all seem to know in the Davis family, including Danielle herself, that she really isn't okay with this. And they all mention just how devastating it would be for Danielle to leave. Yet everyone ignores Danielle's true feelings, and Danielle herself is hesitant to voice them at first. Now, in the end of this episode, that changes a little, but she really seems to want to people please, and it really serves no one to do that, least of all herself. It is really hard to be the only voice of opposition, and it's hard to piss on everyone's parade if everyone is really gung-ho about something. But ultimately, if Danielle loves herself, if she knows her self-worth, which we find out she does at the end of this episode, she will be true to herself. And if Danielle really matters to these people at the end of the day, if her departure would truly be devastating to the family, I don't think they would be going along with this at all. But later on, they really talk and they really seem to have Danielle's back, and they seem to really take her words and her voice into consideration, which I did appreciate. Next up are the Merrifields. It's Garrick and Miriam's one-on-one stay-in date night. They're going to be on the couch, canoodling, imbibing a little in front of the fireplace. Garrick is excited to spend alone time with Miriam. He can't wait to touch her. He wants special time. He knows the one-on-one time, the sexy time, won't be the same with each wife. He knows the chemistry, the vibe is its own individual thing with each wife. But with Miriam, he just wants to love her and he wants to receive love back from her. Hopefully. Does Garrick want to receive love or does Garrick want to receive fellatio? Garrick and his new prey sit on the couch by the fireplace. And Garrick wants to get closer right away. Right away, he is touching Miriam. And he is glad that Miriam and Danielle get along. They had a good time talking. And in his baby voice, Garrick calls Miriam a gorgeous, curvy woman. A woman who dolls up good. First of all, dumb fuck, it would be a woman who dolls up well. Because Garrick says Miriam dolls up good, but some women just don't know how to doll themselves up well. Miriam isn't comfortable being touchy-feely yet. She feels really awkward about it. She wants Garrick to take his time and to get to know her on a deeper level, to get more personal. She wants deep conversations first. Miriam wants to join the beauty industry, and Garrick reveals that maybe he and Miriam could team up. And she asks Garrick what he knows about the beauty industry. And we learn the big reveal that Garrick loves designing, he's artistic, and his dream is to design women's clothing. Women's clothing. Next, he jokes that Miriam could be his fashion model to try on his wares. You know, I'm just going to say this. I don't know any purely straight man that's into designing women's clothes. That's all I'm going to say about that. Garrick is so weird. He is sitting there doing his SK whispery vibe voice, whispering in soft tones, and he's caressing Miriam's knee, and she is looking like, what the fuck did I even get myself into? He's petting Miriam's knee like she's a fucking dog. It's fucking gross. And she looks uncomfortable. Miriam asks Garrick how he would feel if she decided to wear a headscarf, since that's her religion. She's Muslim. Garrick says he would pull it off of her, wanting to see his wife. And Miriam reveals she wants to wear a hijab someday. And Garrick says he doesn't necessarily think it's bad, but he points out Miriam would be too beautiful. Garrick knows the Muslim faith is very important to Miriam, so he's intrigued by the faith and he wants to learn more about it. He really wants to learn more so he can meet Miriam where she's at. Garrick lets us know he was a bad boy. He didn't love God. He didn't live God when he was younger. He was wild. He was a playboy. He was bad. Garrick says he was bad. He started a gang in town and he made people pay for protection. He was wild. And he had gang decals made for his always thuggin' crew spelled with a K. They were hard. They were intimidating. It sounds lame as fuck. What the fuck is that? Always thuggin' crew spelled with a K? With the gang decals for the back of your soccer mom vans? Like, what the fuck? Oh, God. Miriam thinks that maybe Garrick was a spoiled silver spoon kid who was just acting out, trying to play tough, that it maybe wasn't that serious. Now, Garrick asks Miriam what she thinks of him. She thinks Garrick is different and she really wants to get to know him better. She wants to see where things go, but she warns she wants things slow and steady. Slow is the key here. Miriam is very vocal. She isn't shy to say how she feels or to express herself. And she makes it clear she doesn't like Garrick's town. It's too small. There aren't a lot of brown people there. It's all very vanilla. But Garrick feels he can change her mind. He can show her the benefits of living in a small town. He says she may not understand them yet, but he can make her understand the great qualities, the safety of a small town, the freedom for your kids, to be able to enjoy their childhood. Garrick thinks he can win Miriam over, but Miriam doesn't think Garrick heard her when she made it clear she doesn't want to live here. She doesn't like this town. Miriam thinks she might be the only tan-skinned person around anywhere for miles and miles, and it makes her uncomfortable to be there. Miriam knows Garrick has a plan for his life. He knows what he wants. He knows what he wants to create. He wants to include her, but she wants to really take her time to see who Garrick is, who Danielle is, who the Merrifields are together, and she wants to see who they really are. She wants to know everything about them so they can also see who she is. She wants to take it slow to see if this is right for her, and she wants to find out all she can first. Garrick is shocked with how slow Miriam wants to take things, and he feels Miriam is being an ice queen. She's standoffish, and he wonders if that's Miriam's culture, and he says it's really awkward. He's giving her the benefit of the doubt because she doesn't want to be touchy-feely, but he wants to learn if this is an issue between he and Miriam and their chemistry, or if this is just a cultural difference. Because, of course, Garrick is eager to get his dick wet. Back to the Davis family, Danielle explains how strange it was to have Jasmine in bed with them. And she wonders if that's something she could tolerate, to have Jasmine there every night sleeping in the bed with them. Jasmine had a good time last night. She says sleeping in that bed was fine. She had a good night and she liked having other people around as she slept. Jasmine and Danielle were the first ones up, and since Jasmine could be Danielle's potential wife, she felt it would be nice to spend some one-on-one time with her. Danielle wants to have a really good relationship with the woman that she will legally marry, who would be entering the family. So Jasmine and Danielle talk one-on-one, and Danielle asks how things are going. Jasmine doesn't see any problems so far. She at this point just wants to get to know everyone, and she says at this point, with the just getting to know each other stage, not that much could go wrong. Danielle mentions that as time goes on, as things progress in the relationship, they would want Jasmine and her son to move in the future, to be living with the family. That doesn't bother Jasmine. She's down, but she wants to take things really slowly. She doesn't mind thinking about the future as long as they don't act on it immediately, as long as they're just talking about it for now. She really wants to go slowly. Danielle wonders if Jasmine understands the difficulties of being a sister wife, and she makes it clear to Jasmine that it isn't always easy 24/7. Danielle says she herself has struggled with lots of issues coming into a polygamous relationship. She explains that she was always in a monogamous relationship previous to this, and she can always vocalize her thoughts here, but there have been times where she wishes she spoke up and she didn't, and it got to the point where she moved out because she didn't speak up and she held back. So Danielle tells Jasmine it wasn't always easy and her leaving the family was brief, but she did consider separating from the family at one point. The family worked through it, and dating Jasmine specifically, is a big first step in that. Jasmine felt that Danielle's openness was brave, but she doesn't anticipate having the same issues as Danielle did. She says she is more secure in herself. Danielle tells Jasmine that she really wants to be transparent with her, that on a daily basis, yeah, things are great there. It's a very fun dynamic, but that fun dynamic comes with hard work. It isn't just easy. Danielle is disappointed with Jasmine's lack of response. Jasmine doesn't seem very engaged. And Danielle doesn't feel like Jasmine was being very engaging with her. She doesn't feel like Jasmine really understood her and what she was trying to communicate. Danielle doesn't feel like everything is quite right with Jasmine. Danielle knows Jasmine is the one who could be her potential legal wife if this works out. She feels marriage is a commitment, so Danielle isn't really sure if Jasmine would be a good fit for a potential sister wife. I think Danielle was really trying to be honest with Jasmine to give Jasmine a true perspective of being in a polygamous relationship, having been in Jasmine's shoes at one point and laying it out for her. And I found Jasmine to be a little bit dismissive, and I felt she was kind of condescending when she suggested that she's secure. She's so secure in herself that she wouldn't have those struggles that Danielle did or those insecurities, as if Danielle is weak or as if Danielle is not confident enough or secure enough in herself, and Jasmine is so much above that. Jasmine hasn't ever been in Danielle's shoes, and she will have no earthly idea how she will feel in a polygamous situation till she is the last wife who is also dating the next potential wife who is coming in. She hasn't lived it. She isn't in Danielle's shoes, and she has an arrogance to be dismissive of Danielle. And I think that's very immature. And I don't think Jasmine is as secure in herself as she claims she is. Next up are the psycho stalkers, the Ryans, Justin and Becky. Justin just got back from the date with Yari. Justin really tried to push things forward with Yari to see if she is truly interested in them. Since they've been dating for months yet, the pace is really slow and there has been no formal commitment. Justin still isn't over Stephanie. He brings her up again. He says they had lightning in a bottle with Stephanie and they thought everyone was on the same page, everyone was committed, and it crashed and burned. So now Justin is cool with just taking things slow. He gets it's a really big jump to go from monogamy and regular life to living polygamy and committing to that. Justin feels Yari wants a man all to herself, and he knows she said as much. She said she wanted a husband just for herself. And he tells Becky that, and Becky feels Yari saying she wants a man all to herself is a red flag. That makes Becky feel like maybe Yari isn't in the right type of relationship. Becky wonders why Yari and Justin are continuing to date. She wonders if things with Yari might potentially change, if Yari would change her mind about polygamy, or if Yari is saying she just wants Justin all to herself. And Becky is wondering if Yari is thinking that if she stays with Justin, then maybe something would happen down the road where she can steal Justin for herself away from Becky. Becky's radar is going off big time, and Becky wants to know how Yari feels about really being a part of their family. Becky is sure that Yari will never be able to steal Justin from her, but she worries that's what Yari wants and that's what Yari thinks she can accomplish. And she says if that's the case, it's just all a waste of time for everyone involved. Becky's disappointed that things are stagnant with Yari. They're on a plateau. She doesn't know if Yari just wants Justin to herself or if she wants things to just go slow or if she just isn't into it. Justin thinks Yari likes him a lot and his wife as well, but maybe Yari needs more time to decide. Becky feels maybe while they're waiting on Yari, they could find someone in the meantime. And she knows if they do find someone, that someone will be their focus. Becky is also disappointed in her relationship with Yari. She says her relationship with Yari and her relationship with Stephanie can't be compared. Her relationship with Stephanie, they were really close. They spoke daily. They regularly made plans. But with Yari, days will go by and Becky won't hear a peep from Yari. Becky doesn't know yet if Yari will actually make a good addition to the family. Justin isn't sure either. He thinks Yari is beautiful, but she is conflicted about whether she can actually live this way and make a commitment. But Becky and Justin are committed to this. They will keep looking, they will keep searching, and Becky knows someone is out there, someone who wants a family to make them feel safe and loved and happy and protected. Back to the Davis family, Nick finds Jasmine and Danielle talking awkwardly one-on-one, and Nick felt really good about having Jasmine there, waking up, Having her there felt very natural. April was very happy with it that Jasmine slept with them in the bed. Everything felt natural for her and Jennifer as well. And Nick feels 4 women in the bed was new for him, and he loved it. Jasmine slept well. Everyone had fun. Danielle admits that Jasmine keeps things fun. Jennifer loves Jasmine's quirky personality. Danielle says there have been some awkward moments, though, with Jasmine. She's fun. She wants to see how Jasmine vibes with all of them, how well Jasmine's personality meshes in the future. Nick, of course, is sold. He is interested in Jasmine. He says he finds her interesting. Jasmine wants to get more info. She really wants to spend one-on-one time with everyone, and she wants to spend more time together as a group to get a sense of who everyone really is. And she says she plans to be nosy. I have a feeling she's going to shake things up. Nick really wants to pursue this relationship with Jasmine further, but he says it's not up to him. He knows he counts on his wives to recognize things that he might miss, and he knows he could very well be blinded by beauty. He could be unaware and not see something that his wives might notice. He's going to be very disappointed if they don't move forward with Jasmine. They will have a family meeting in a few days to see how everyone feels about it and take a consensus. Back to the Merrifields. Miriam is flying home. Danielle feels the trip was a great success. Garrick knows there's a lot to figure out, but overall, it was a wonderful trip. Garrick is happy that Danielle feels close to Miriam, and Danielle feels closer to Miriam than she does with Natalia. She wishes that things were different with Natalia, but she knows it's going to take a lot of time for Natalia to accept that they're now open to searching for other potential wives and they're dating other potential wives. Garrick plans to continue dating Miriam to see if she could possibly be the one. For now, she's a friend, a good one that has potential to be a sister wife. Miriam doesn't know what the future holds yet, but she hopes they keep talking, and if they do, that they meet her family if things progress. Danielle knows if they decided to move forward with Miriam, that would create a lot of negativity, a lot of hostility, a lot of problems with Natalia. Natalia was pissed off. She wasn't engaging with the fact that she can't ignore a potential sister wife. And the way she decided to deal with this is to just not be engaging, to pull back, to ignore the potential sister wife. And from Garrick's perspective, Natalia has issues. Garrick wants Natalia to deal with those issues. And he wants everyone to just love one another as a family. And Garrick is nervous that Natalia just might not be willing to do that. She might be far too inconvenient for him. Back to the Davis family. The family is finally getting together to discuss Jasmine and how to proceed with her. Danielle is nervous. She hopes that everyone is going to be on the same page because she knows this is a very big deal. April has heard from Jasmine and she feels like now it's time to really discuss if they are going to try to get together with her again, if they're going to try to pursue her. Jennifer really appreciates how open Jasmine was to polygamy, and that openness is hard to come by. She says that Jasmine had a really good personality type. She has a good type of character for this type of polygamous relationship. She's very open. And Danielle really admires how bold and how outgoing Jasmine was with them. Danielle admits nothing went wrong, but it didn't go right enough for her. She has hesitancy. She has some red flags. Danielle thinks Jasmine is definitely a cool chick. She likes her, but she says this woman is going to be her potential legal wife. So she wants to be as crazy about her as she is about her sister wives and Nick. She isn't head over heels. She just isn't feeling it. And she doesn't know if moving forward right now with Jasmine would be the best idea. Nick looks extremely disappointed. Jennifer also looks disappointed, but April sides with Danielle. Danielle admits it's hard for her to really discuss her feelings. She says she easily feels very insecure, she easily feels down, and she easily will often just put herself in a box. But now she knows it's the time and she needs to speak up if she has issues. And April admits she feels reserved. She has the same concerns as Danielle with Jasmine, but she really likes that Danielle has used her voice. She has expressed herself. Nick is disappointed. He's disappointed that Danielle feels this way. He hoped that they could move forward, and he felt Jasmine was an interesting girl to get to know in a romantic sense. Basically, he wanted to fuck her. He's disappointed he couldn't get it in. He was really hoping to. He's disappointed, but he admits he knows he has to abide by the structure that they have created as a family. And he knows it's not up to him. His desire to have Jasmine there in the family is overridden by what his women think. What his women think comes first ahead of anything he thinks. April says if Nick feels they should move forward, it makes a difference for her. And Danielle feels if Nick really wants to, then maybe she's rushing it, and maybe she has to be the one to work a little bit harder to feel that connection to Jasmine. So when April caves, she starts to cave and say, well, maybe I should give it more time. But Nick says no. He doesn't let Danielle vacillate. He doesn't let her second guess or backpedal. He explains to Danielle that they didn't have to work for their connections with each other. The connections they have are all natural, just like all of their connections are with Danielle. So because Danielle isn't feeling it, the group decides not to date Jasmine. The three women agree not to go forward and date Jasmine. Nick was digging Jasmine, and it sucks for him that it didn't work out. But Nick really points out that he appreciated Danielle being confident and Danielle standing apart. She was standing alone, and she was voicing how she was feeling, regardless of how her sister wives felt about Jasmine. And I can't believe everyone actually heard Danielle. And I thought that was awesome that they actually heard her and that they didn't go forward with this. And I am so glad Danielle was able to be honest with the group. Danielle is thankful for the Jasmine experience overall. She thinks it helped them grow. And Jennifer wonders if they want to continue seeking or not. And Danielle says she feels whoever is meant to be with them is out there, so they should keep moving forward. I feel here she had the option to be honest with everyone and say she doesn't want to date, but I think she was trying to people please here, honestly, and I think that's why she said that. So Danielle feels they should keep moving forward, and April wants to continue with someone else, or maybe a few potential someone else's, to see what works. So they're going to keep dating. So April wants to maybe date several people at a time even, just to see how things feel. So Nick was disappointed about not being able to go further with Jasmine. But now, upon hearing that he might be able to date several potentials at once, he is feeling much less disappointed about Jasmine. Now he is intrigued about all of this dating potential. And he likes the idea of dating several potentials at once. Danielle thinks all the resolution of issues just makes the family stronger. And she says they are stronger now than they ever were. And April is happy that Danielle has finally found her voice. She is happy to see Nick finally putting dating in the hands of his wives. And when she says this, it makes me wonder, were there points during this process of forming the family where dating wasn't in the hands of his wives? April starts sobbing. They're having a Kodak moment. She wells up with tears and she says she loves the love they all have, and she is so thankful for each of her wives and for Nick. And they all group hug. It's a Kodak moment. Next up, though, things are not so Hallmark. Back to the Merrifields over sad music. Danielle is in tears 3 weeks after Miriam's visit. Danielle is sad because things aren't good with Natalia. And we learn at the end of this episode that things don't work out with Miriam either. But a lot has happened in the past 6 weeks. Things are worse for Natalia. Things are going bad with the Merrifields. At this point, the family is still pursuing Miriam, although we find out in the end of the episode that it's not working out. Natalia wasn't expecting Miriam to work out, and Natalia is upset, to put it mildly. Danielle doesn't know if things are going to work out with Natalia, but she knows God is in control and there is a reason for all of this. She says even though there's a reason, it is disheartening and she doesn't know how everything will end. But she is praying to God that God works it out because Danielle says she really loves Natalia and she wants to have a sister, she wants a friend, and she is trying to help Natalia. She tries to talk to Natalia, but nothing she says is helping the situation. So Danielle is leaving it up to God. She says they will just have to see what God does. Natalia sends producers a video message, and in this message, she explains that since Danielle and Garrick went back to America, things changed a lot, and Garrick lied to her numerous times. They had Miriam in their house, and Natalia explains that since the beginning of her relationship with Garrick, she let Garrick know she showed her dissatisfaction with Garrick, adding a new person before she was already living with the family in America. And Garrick told her she could trust him, that he would wait for Natalia to move to the U.S., that she would get settled in the U.S. before they started dating or pursuing other women. And Garrick lied and was dating people anyway. And Garrick also demanded total submission to him, that he would be in control. And of course, Natalia refused, as she should have. So Natalia is no longer in a relationship with Garrick. Good for Natalia. Cut your losses, girl. She will no longer continue the relationship, and she broke up officially with Garrick. Garrick explains his perspective of things with Natalia. He says things escalated, and Natalia told him she didn't want him talking to Miriam, to anyone else, to other women. She told him, how dare you? She told Garrick that he promised her that they would wait to date until she came to the U.S. And Danielle says she feels like Natalia at first was fine with Miriam. She was fine with Miriam meeting the family. She was fine with Danielle meeting Miriam. But then all of a sudden, Natalia claimed that she felt lied to, and she felt like the Merrifields tried to trick her. And Danielle says Garrick is hurt. Garrick says Natalia is his wife. He's heartbroken over this. He loves Natalia, but he feels Natalia is still unwilling to address her issues, the issues she has in her heart and in her mind. And he says Natalia isn't being a team player in the family. How inconvenient, and shame on her. Garrick says he doesn't want to lose a wife. But if a wife won't face her problems, it's better to know now. It's better to know now that she refuses to grow up, that she refuses to mature, and that she refuses to change. He says it's better to find out now than to have her come to America, where his kids are, and then discovering, listen, Natalia just isn't going to work out. Garrick feels knowing now rather than finding out in the future, that is a blessing. Garrick is a real dick face. Garrick is trying to blame Natalia as if this is Natalia's fault, as if her issues, some deficiency in her, that's the reason this didn't work out. When the truth is, Garrick's lying, manipulative ass and his lying, shady ways are the real reason he and Natalia didn't work out. Garrick seemed to promise Natalia that he wouldn't add wives or date until she moved to the U.S. and became adjusted and acclimated to life in the U.S. And he dated anyway, ignoring his promise to Natalia, ignoring Natalia's feelings, thoughts, and wishes, just hoping Natalia would just shut up and accept it and submit. And Natalia refused. Natalia isn't going to be manipulated. Natalia isn't going to put up with lies. She isn't going to be preyed upon by Garrick. And Garrick can deflect. He can say it's because of Natalia's issues. It's Natalia's heart. It's her mind. It's her problems. It's her issues. No. The truth is Garrick lied. Garrick's a scumbag who thinks with his dick. And Danielle facilitates his perversions. And Natalia, thankfully, knew better, and she decided she wasn't going to put up with this shit. And good for her, she can do better, and she has her whole life ahead of her. Garrick can try and put this on Natalia and blame Natalia, but the reality is Natalia claimed she was in love with him. She was young, she was in a vulnerable situation, and Garrick tried to lie to her and take advantage of her. And she is lucky she saw red and ran. These people don't give a fuck about Natalia. Garrick doesn't give a fuck about Natalia. And when Natalia said no to Garrick mask off, lying to her, asking her to submit to him to become more convenient for him, when she said no, when Garrick preached to her that she needs to submit to his noodly armed pasty ass, and she became way too inconvenient, the Merrifields are trying to spin this around and deflect, and they are trying to blame Natalia. Natalia's faults, her unaddressed insecurities, her heart issues, her unaddressed mind issues, her deficiencies. They tried to blame her rather than pin this where it lies, on them, on Garrick's lies, on his issues, on his inability to keep it in his pants and keep his words and commitments that he makes to these women. This man claims to be all about God, but does his God like the liars and deceivers of the world? Does his God like a man in his position taking advantage of a woman in a vulnerable situation that he purposely picked because he seems to want women he can control more easily? Women who are vulnerable, women who need money, women who are younger, women who can't speak English, who just want the opportunity for a better life, women he thinks he can lie to, whose feelings just don't matter to him. Natalie is a human being, and Garrick treated her like shit. He lied to her, he used her, and now he wants to turn this around and villainize Natalia to get out of him smelling his own shit. Garrick maybe needs to take his own advice. Maybe Garrick needs to take care of his own heart issues and his own mind issues before he tries to call out Natalia. Maybe Garrick is the one who needs to grow up and be real with himself. Maybe he can mull it over while he shops for his extra medium wife beaters at the mall or something. Garrick is heartbroken, guys. Poor Garrick. Sad, sad Garrick. Victim Garrick. Natalie is just far too inconvenient for him. And men like Garrick, ego-driven, selfish, idiotic men like Garrick, who overestimate themselves, don't like inconveniences. Natalie has become far too inconvenient, and he already got what he wanted. Danielle says, even with what happened with Natalie, they are still seeing Miriam. They're going to see her regardless of how Natalia feels, and they're going to take things slow. They're going to get to know each other. But Danielle and Miriam really get along well. They have fun together, and it's very comfortable between them. Danielle feels Natalia is missing out on a blessing in her life with a family. Danielle says she knows Garrick is a very good husband. Yeah, she's saying it like she's convincing herself of it. And maybe she needs to keep convincing herself of that because it sounds like she doesn't even believe it herself. Wow. Garrick does more God bullshit. He adds that he has a strong relationship with God and God doesn't make mistakes, even in the bad things. Garrick says even the bad things, even the suffering he goes through, they're for his good, they're for his perfection, they're for his change. Maybe he could change himself to not think with his dick so much. Maybe, how about that? So Garrick says he is thankful for all of the hurt and all of the pain and all of the suffering. He says God is so loving that all of the suffering, even the pain, all of it is just so beautiful because God is so loving and it's good and it's refining him, and all of this adversity is transforming him. He is just so perfect, guys. Oh, he is perfect. Everyone should want to be like him. Again, the world needs less Garricks. I feel like Garrick wants to be Joel Osteen. It's vomit-inducing. The Merrifields had their daughter in May, and the Ryans are still dating Yari. She still won't commit, though. Becky tags along sometimes when Justin and Yari go out. The Salahuddins are dating a new woman. They're meeting her soon for the first time. Things are still rough with Naeem's mom. Shane and Ashley no longer talk to Sarah. And throughout the dating process now, they've been catfished, they've been stood up, but they still hope to find Ashley a sister wife. Davises are dating a new woman, and Danielle is still with the family. The Davises hope this new woman will be their potential future wife one day. Danielle and Garrick are no longer dating Miriam. It didn't work out, but they met a new woman in Brazil. Garrick baptized her on their first meeting, and he proposed. And so now they're trying to go through the K1 visa process. Wow. That does it for this episode. I'll be back soon with the next episode of my Sister Wives rewatch, Sister Wives Season 6, Episode 2, The 4 Lives of Cody's Wives. Thanks for listening. Bye.